Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to HOTFIX. Today, we're going to be talking about the rise of YouTube gaming channels and kind of how people consume gaming media these days. But we're going to do a little specific thingy, Mr. Kirioth, and it is what I'm going to call old media. So this is, it's not old media like media from 1950s media, no, because you're getting a bit carried away there. It is old gaming media, which is kind of like the written word.
Oh, damn it. I was gonna chip in with that. The written word. Exactly like that.
I beat you to it, but the written word. Versus what people call new media, which is things like YouTube. And I mean, essentially, the way I classify new media is it's just a form of media which is accessible to anybody. So, you know, you could go to your, I don't know, bedroom and start a YouTube channel and on something and make videos on it. That's new media. I mean, yeah, sure, you could go and make a written website and write about it. That's kind of new media as well. But just for the sake of this, we're just going to say new media is a YouTube channel, is video content, is this new style of content. Old media is written content, old stuff, which we may have, which was very prominent some, let's say, 5-6 years ago. But I don't think that's the case anymore, Mr. Kirioth. So to start this off, I'm going to make a statement because this is just cannot be denied. There is a massive increase in YouTube gaming channel views, even to the extent of YouTube put a document out yesterday and said, oh, look at all the views that we get people. We get publishers and developers of games because they get X amount of views before the game's launched, and then they get basically that amount of views again after the game's launched because of all our amazing community content creators. So, good Lord, look at all this advertising. This is absolutely pure. Now, obviously, not everybody goes around looking for that type of stuff because not everybody's like me and runs a YouTube channel, Mr. Kirioth. But you can blatantly see the growth of YouTube channels if you just look at YouTube channels. So, the big example I'm going to obviously use is PewDiePie, who has apparently 9.6 million subscribers as of the recording of this video, and quite disgustingly, some may argue, accrued Mr. Kirioth some 46 million views the other week.
I mean, love him or hate him, he's not exactly. You couldn't say that he's not doing well. He's absolutely destroying pretty much everybody.
But he is at the top of YouTube at the moment, and there is a load of channels that are growing. Any channel you can name, Unit Lost, growing. Total Biscuit, growing. Yogscast, growing. Jesse Cox, growing. Dodger, growing. Husky, growing. You can just keep going. They're all growing. They never not grow. They just keep growing. And it's like, where is this audience coming from? What did this audience consume before it consumed all this YouTube content? This is the thing this is the funky thing.
But then if you look at the sort of old media, the written word sites like Rock Paper Shotgun and WoW Insider, for some reason I was looking at the other day, there's a very sort of quick, easy way of checking view figures for sites that allow comments, and that is, do they get as many comments as they used to? Now, I know that you could say, well, there's many things that are involved in making comments. Well, there are, but generally speaking, if your site goes from having, on average, say, 60 comments per article a day, and you go down to having 6 comments per article a day, it's pretty safe to assume from an outside perspective that that site is no longer getting as many views by quite a lot.
I'd agree with that. I think using WoW Insider as an example isn't really the best, but it's still a gaming site. You know, and you could argue that WoW channels get more views.
Yeah, well,
WoW Insiders. But Rock Paper Shotgun is a good example. I like that. Yeah. Eurogamer is a good example as well. Although Eurogamer still gets a healthy amount of comments. But RPS, I have followed that website for ages, right? It used to be my daily read. I still do read it daily, but I don't. Well, I kind of skim over it. I don't really go into massive detail reading stuff on there. But I'll get into our habits have changed a bit later on in the HOTFIX. But yeah, I do think that using comments as a kind of as a barometer for total views can be done because they do directly correlate to each other in a sense. You know, if you get 1,000 views, then you may get 10 comments. If you get 10 views, you're not going to get 10 comments. You might, but it's very unlikely. So you can kind of correlate them together, and you can say, okay, if an article on a certain website used to get 200 comments, now it gets 10 comments, that is not getting the same amount of views as it got before. It's declining.
And at the same
That's fact.
time,
I think that is fact.
yeah,
That is fact.
at the same time, it's one of those things where you can very easily track it, especially if you visit these sites every day. Which, I mean, like you, I've been following Rock Paper Shotgun for ages. It's pretty much my favourite site of its kind. But you can sort of see the steady. It's not like a one day thing. It's not like suddenly they went from having loads of comments all the time to no comments any of the time. It's slowly dropping, and it's still dropping. It's like a really steady kind of basically triangle shape. You've just got this slope of downward views. But then all the YouTube channels that I've followed, they're going the other way.
Massively,
like,
yeah. And you know what? They're growing to an extent where they're tapping into audiences that just never would have looked at that type of stuff before. Now I know, okay, there's a big difference here. We're comparing websites, journalistic websites which produce, you know, reviews of games and journalistic pieces, editorial pieces, to things which are gaming entertainment mainly, you know, like PewDiePie and the rest of them. Even Unit Lost is a lot of gaming entertainment, but also a bit of gaming fact as well, and game discussion like HOTFIX, and game reviews like Is It Pure, and gaming first impressions like Look, see, basically everything because we're the fucking best, Mr. Kirioth. But it still is a fact that type, like, I don't know. I mean, you could kind of wildly compare this to the effect World of Warcraft had on the MMO market, where it brought loads of people into the MMO market. It's kind of like the YouTube channels are a lot more accessible, so they're bringing people in who necessarily would not consume that type of content, and they're sort of getting it from their YouTube channels, and it's making this massive thing, which is just growing bigger and bigger.
Fair. I think that's fair, because if you look at channels like PewDiePie, you're not going to go to PewDiePie for detailed reviews or in-depth discussions or anything like that. You're just there to watch some guy play a game and crap himself is basically all you're there for. But by watching PewDiePie, you'll be suggested other channels that are similar, and it slowly works its way around to someone might start watching PewDiePie and find that actually, whilst they do kind of find him funny, what they want is something more informative. So they might end up, through like the network of suggestions and everything else that YouTube does, find themselves like watching Total Biscuit or something. So they've, in a roundabout way, they've ended up with similar content to what they get in the written word form, but it's a lot more accessible because you can dive straight in with like daft gaming videos, and with a bit of looking around and with a bit of, you know, help and suggestion, you will find something that will basically cater to the thing that you didn't find accessible before. Because there's a big difference between reading an article and watching a video. There's a massive difference.
It's more of an enclosed like ecosystem, ain't it? It's like you're on YouTube, so you can kind of get everything you want off YouTube if you subscribe to certain channels and stuff, instead of having to bounce around websites and stuff. But of course, the main thing we're missing here is video content, so it's way easier to consume. It's better content in the sense of, or maybe better is not the right word, but it is content which is a lot easier to consume. You can sit there and watch it, and it's like, oh yeah, I've watched this. You don't have to read. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do that. You can just fucking watch the video, and it's like, yeah, if you don't agree, you can comment. We all know YouTube comments are terrible, but you can, and you can like and dislike and all that stuff. But I think an interesting thing as well is advertising, which I think slowly but surely advertising agencies and big game publishers and even companies like Monster Energy and people like that, who, or Razer. Obviously, Razer are heavily linked to the gaming community, but they're starting to realise that there is a massive fuckload of advertising potential on YouTube, and I mean a fucking massive, fucking absolute super truckload of it. They're slowly realising, because I've got some figures for you, Mr. Kirioth, from Polygon. Okay, so this is Vox Media. Now, Polygon is a relatively new gaming website, but it's been forged from, a load of industry veterans, blah, blah, blah. It's not a website which has come from nowhere. It kind of has come from nowhere, but it hasn't, if you get what I'm saying. Vox Media, they make things like, I think, The Verge and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they're a pretty well-established media network. Let's say old media network. They're not exactly very transparent with their figures, but let's just take Polygon for example. Okay, so they say Polygon has 77,457 comments on its website. I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty sure even somebody like Total Biscuit annihilates that view comment in a month, easy. In a month, we're talking, yeah. Okay, now I cannot tell you YouTube statistics from my own back end. See, because what I can do, and I'm in a very unique position, I can take the stats from my channel, I can multiply them up to the level of somebody else's channel, and then I can fairly accurately see how much they've earned, how many comments they get, how many favorites, how many likes, how many, it's much more accurate than going on to some website, let's say Social Blade, which gives you a very horrendously inaccurate reporting figure on everything, right? So other figures we've got are Twitter followers, 31,000 Twitter followers on Polygon. Well, find out how many Total Biscuits got for me, bloke. I'm pretty sure it's over 100,000.
Oh, God.
Ali A, this is a guy we know who does a Call of Duty channel. I think he's got over 200,000 Twitter followers. That's considerably more than Polygon have got, sir.
Well, Total Biscuit on Twitter has 195, basically 196,000 followers.
So basically 200,000. That's all the stats they actually released that I could find on Polygon. They don't tell you how many people view their page, how many people do this, how many people do that. I think because something interesting is happening. These places, it's kind of like this happens on television as well. You get companies pay a shitload of money to advertise stuff on TV. Now, at some television network which shows, like, let's say Sky Living, which is a channel in the UK which just shows crappy shit, like who's that guy? The American talk show host, the bloke who invented it all, Jeremy Springer.
Oh, Jerry Springer.
Jerry Springer. Yeah. That's Jeremy Kyle. Yeah. So Jerry Springer, right? He's on this channel, and it must get jack shit views. It would be interesting to see how many views it gets, right? It's going to be nowhere near the views these massive YouTube channel gets, or even medium YouTube channels gets. But they're probably making tons of money off the advertising, way, way more than what's being made from people on YouTube. And the same kind of applies to these existing websites like Polygon and other places, Eurogamer. I think they're getting paid probably a hell of a lot more than YouTube channels are getting paid for the amount of views that they're providing, which I think is changing and I don't think it'll be the death of these websites because they'll always be there. But I really think there's a massive shift in this industry, this gaming entertainment industry as a whole, content production industry, which is definitely going towards somewhere like YouTube, where it's massive, and advertisers are realizing this. I mean, fucking hell, isn't TGS running some sort of what's that film, Pacific Rim?
Yeah, the Pacific Rim promotion that is a massive indicator of just how big it's getting now. YouTube,
because that's a film studio.
Yeah, it's a huge, it's a massive film. It's like a summer blockbuster that's cost millions upon millions. They've got guys from gaming channels doing the promotion for it on YouTube. I mean, if that's not a significant
we don't know
enough
what
indicator.
They've been paid. Okay, we don't know what they've been paid, and even if we did, we wouldn't tell you because we just wouldn't be like that. But it's substantial, because a film like that, you can kind of work it out. A film like that would have a multi-million-dollar advertising campaign behind it. It could quite easily throw $100,000 at YouTube. Yeah, throw it there, throw that.
And also, something that's interesting about that as well is that quite often watching TV, I've seen adverts for Pacific Rim, and it's a very good example of this because it's the first thing that's really done something like this. And I remember seeing something that said that adverts are usually placed, like high budget adverts are placed at points where TV is getting the most viewers. So if you've got a program that's getting like 2.5 million people watching it, then you'll put the adverts there. If you combine all the people who have done this Pacific Rim promotion together, I think you're going to have more than 2.5 million people watching their video.
And also, this is a thing which is kind of like ignored. Like TV's broadcast advertising, so that means it just encompasses every single demographic. You don't know who the hell's watching the telly. YouTube does not. I can tell you who the hell is watching my channel. I can tell you their age range and tell you their sex, tell you what country they come from. So I can say, hey, Mr. Advertiser, would you like X amount of views to this age group in this country? Thank you, sir. That's what they want. They want targeted views. If you're interested in games, right, you're probably interested in fucking massive killer death robots coming out of the sea fighting aliens, sir. That's quite a good connection to make. So that's quite a good way to advertise. It's very simple.
Yeah.
But, Mr. Kirioth, let's look at some other stuff as well. Now, we're clearly biased towards YouTube because, well, last time I looked, we'd run a fucking YouTube channel, sir. But the question is, why did we run a YouTube channel? Why don't we run a news blog? I mean, tell them the story, sir, of Unit Lost of Old, what it was going to be originally.
That's the thing. We did start out writing a news and reviews blog. So unitlost.com was basically a kind of rock, paper, shotgun style website. and we would get the games, we'd play them, we'd review them. If something amazing happened, we'd report on it, and it was fine. It's all fine and good, but YouTube is just new. It's so much.
Well,
it's
yeah.
just
The thing was there was no room for growth. You cannot go into an area like that and start producing a website without serious investment or God knows what, or major promotion. You wouldn't really get anywhere. So what would be more attractive to somebody, to people like us who didn't really have anything to get going with? YouTube was more attractive, and there is definite room for growth even at that time. Now the growth potential is astronomical, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing. So,
and, I mean, not only that, but doing a review of a game, doing a review, writing it down as you're playing the game, you've got to take notes. You've got to remember what's happening. You've got to, there's a lot to it, and it can wind up being a lot more complex and a lot more time consuming than doing a video. But the video will still be just as good as the written one. It's just you're able to go back and see what you did. You're able to do it live. You can, edit it so that you've got footage to then commentate over the top.
It's just better all round. Video content is much better than written content. Easier for people to consume, and you can show things off better as well. I mean, when I originally started using YouTube, it was for gaming stuff as well. So if I was looking for a game, what I would do is I would look for gameplay of that game to see how the game actually played. Because reading what some guys wrote, they can spin the words and make it appear better than it actually is, or bullshit the game up to high heaven or whatever. But actually watching a bit of gameplay footage, you cannot bullshit that. That's why YouTube is. And also, actually, on the subject of bullshit, these YouTube channels are independent. They have no investors or shareholders, or they don't give a fuck if some publisher won't give them their game for free, because they'll just fucking buy the game and make videos on it anyway. It's not like they're damaging their contacts. And if anything, right, this is the funny thing with YouTube. Even if somebody does, I mean, okay, look at Angry Joe. He got fucking palmed off by that Major Nelson guy. That got Angry Joe fucking loads of cash, loads of views, loads of subs, loads of everything. There's no negative to it. And I don't think, obviously Microsoft had a problem with this, because it's like, how do you shut these people down? Because they just don't give a fuck. They're not like, you can't say, well, hey guys, you guys from IGN, if you don't say our game's good, then you can forget getting any early previews of our game again. Because we know that's where you get your views from.
Yeah, and as well, the other thing as well is that the website, the old media written word websites are kind of in danger of that, and they're always going to be in danger of it's kind of basically being in league with the big companies. Like there's always a thing. There always used to be comments on Rock Paper Shotgun. If a game came out from a big publisher and they praised it, it'd be like, oh, how much are they paying you? All that kind of crap. If you do that on YouTube, you get slammed in the comments. People are like, no, this is bullshit. You can quite clearly see the game is good. Why are you talking crap? You've got a group of people who will stand up for you. And also, this is the other thing as well. YouTube is massively independent. Like, we might be part of TGS, but TGS are not going to sit there and say, no, you can't do that. We're not going to let you. Because you just be like, well, no, that's bullshit. We'll just tell everyone. And what they get, you've got your insurance policy of being able to say and do whatever the hell you like.
You got these creative people running channels. You can't piss them off, because what are they going to do? They're going to moan like bitches to every fucker they know, and they've got the perfect platform to do it. But yeah, TGS. I mean, you've got total creative control over your channel anyway. So it's not like they. I mean, if that was the case, we wouldn't be part of TGS anyway. If they were like, you had to do this, tell them to fuck off. Maybe we have told them to fuck off in the past. You people don't know. Anyway, moving on to, I guess, kind of wrapping this up. I mean, I think. I mean, just quickly touching back on the advertising thing again. If you look at places like PewDiePie, like Yogscast, like any other channel you could name, they have a lot of subscribers, a lot of loyal fans. They're more akin to like fans of a band or something like that, or you're fans of your favorite actor. Let's say, I don't know, Robert Downey Jr. So anything he's in, you're going to watch it, right? It's kind of that thing which is going on with the YouTube channel. So if you give a game to the best gaming review site in the world, let's say it's Rock Paper Shotgun, and they go, holy shit, this is the best game I have ever fucking seen in my life. It's Half-Life 3. It's fucking awesome. I can't believe it. Bollocks, and it's just drivel at the bottom because they just can't write anymore. It's the best thing they've ever seen. How many people will buy it as a result of that, compared to PewDiePie going, oh my god, guys, Half-Life 3. Oh, buy. Oh, it's the best game ever. Well,
that's a surprisingly good impression as well.
It was an amazing impression. The cold hard facts is more people will buy it because from PewDiePie because he's got a massive audience. Now you could say it about anything, yeah, they've got bigger audiences. But what I'm trying to say is the YouTube channels on whole have got like bigger audiences, so it's just like it's a no-brainer. So
and
hopefully,
as well,
yeah, it's crazy.
A really important thing to remember here as well is that YouTube's audiences are massively interlinked as well. That's something else that I don't think the written word websites really have going on. Yeah. If you see something on one channel on YouTube, you may well see it on another, but the chances are you'll watch both because they're from different personalities, both of which you follow. If you read the news about something on Rock Paper Shotgun and then you notice Eurogamer's got the same bit of news, you're not going to read the same news article twice because that's all it is. It's just the information will stay exactly the same. However, the way that YouTube creators differ so much is that every single interpretation of every single game is different. You know, you're not going to get the same thing from Total Biscuit on one game than you are from, like, say, Jesse Cox. You're not going to get the same thing from PewDiePie as you are from Yogscast, even if they cover the same stuff, because it's much more personality-driven. And that is what causes that tie and that draw to get so many people there in the first place. You end up with massively loyal fans.
It's the future. It's basically the future. I think we'll wrap this up, and I'm going to do a little thing, a demonstration, Mr. Kirioth. So I'm going to open my gaming blogs, and it says, Google Chrome says, are you sure you want to open 23 tabs? When I say gaming blogs, I mean news sites and stuff. Because it's not all doom and gloom. It's not like these websites are not used. Of course they're used. I use them every day. You know, they give you news and stuff like that, which is good. Although I will admit, places like Reddit are also used maybe as frequently for, you know, breaking news and stuff, because they generally report it faster. You know, the Hive Mind reports it faster than their website. So, you know, I'm looking at my websites here. I've got Massively, which is a joystick website, which is an MMO blog. I've got Blues News, which is basically a gaming news syndication website. I've got a couple of tech blogs. I've got Rock Paper Shotgun. I've got Unit Lost, obviously. I've got MMO Champion, although that's kind of just World of Warcraft. Although it does have some other Blizzard news on. Steam news I look at for new releases. Game Industry International. MCV, which is computer and video games. Eurogamer. ESFI for esports news. Another tech blog. Another forum. You know, Destructoid. Polygon. A couple of indie game sites. So they're still used, but I think the rate that they are used is dropping drastically because of the massive growth of YouTube channels. But I also think as well, which is kind of something we sort of did miss, was the next generation of people. They're grown up with YouTube videos. They're not reading websites. They're just growing up with YouTube videos. So the generation after that will, and after that. So these people, instead of being funneled into the written word, are funneled more into the visual world of YouTube, which is starving that market. And also, I think it's generally just older people who read, you know, blogs, news websites and such.
Yeah, and the other thing as well is it's going to continue because the people are going to grow up watching YouTube videos. YouTube is incredibly accessible, more accessible than starting a written word site, and so they will make their own videos, and then they will become larger channels, and then people after that will watch them, and it'll just increase and increase, whereas the written word sites will have to really fight to stay afloat, purely because YouTube is that much accessible, it's that much easier to deal with the content, and
as soon as sponsorship advertising starts diverting, I'm just going to make a wild assumption, but the bulk of its funds away from these websites like IGN and all the rest of it, and start ploughing it into YouTube specific channels. I'm not talking Google AdSense, which displays the ads, but specific channels. That is going to starve the traditional sites, and I don't think they'll be able to compete. They'll have to really start downsizing what they're doing, and I don't think they're competing anyway at the moment anyway, because they just get destroyed for views in every single sector, really. The only thing that they tend to be good for is if it's some sort of really early exclusive, like IGN might have the super early exclusive on the fucking next Halo game or whatever. Whereas YouTube channels, I think in the past a lot of people viewed YouTube channels as sort of crappy places, not very good quality. But now YouTube's obviously done a lot of work trying to push the quality of channels. You've got these really good networks that support channels, and you can't honestly say that YouTube channels are poor quality anymore. They're just not. It's not some guy in his fucking bedroom with his shit microphone. It's some guy in a recording studio with a top-of-the-range computer with fucking amazing editing skills making something which is absolutely pure, sir.
A resolution is comparable to TV as well, is the other thing.
Better than TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do it better than TV. You could do anything. I mean, I'm sitting here in a room with a green screen, with a high-end computer, with a high-end microphone, with bloody noise-cancelling foam all over the walls because the neighbours go crazy. I'm not sitting here in a shithole. I'm sitting here in a purposely built thing to make this content. But anyway, Mr. Kirioth, we've got to stop because we're just going on for ages about this. But I think it is a detailed thing, and we did need to have a detailed discussion on this. So what I want to know is, how the hell do you people consume gaming media now? Do you still read loads of websites? Do you just exclusively use YouTube? Do you use both? How much do you use both? Let us know. What do you think about the discussion we've just had? Do you think YouTube is the future? Let us know. We've been Stylosa and Kirioth. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, which is @UnitLostGaming. You can follow Kirioth. He is @Kirioth. Like the video, subscribe, all that jazz. And we'll catch you next time, people. Toodaloo.